What's going on, and welcome into the Casual Gaming News Conversation. I'm one of your hosts, Nick. That's Connor, and this is your weekly gaming news podcast from Ep.24. Joining us today, we also have Brady, and this is a very special episode of the Casual Gaming News Conversation because this is our Summer Game Fest 2025 breakdown episode. We are live in LA. We are obviously, if you are watching this on YouTube, in a different setup. We are not at my apartment in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are in LA, and we just witnessed 2 hours of video games. There's a lot to get into. We're not going to break down every single video game that we saw, but we're going to talk about some of the highlights. But first and foremost, before we get into overall scores and overall showcase thoughts, Connor, how you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it was a quick 2 hours, all things considered, of what the content was, and we'll get into our opinions on the show as a whole. But yeah, it was fun hanging out, watching all these trailers with you guys, and thanks so much to everybody who's watching over on Twitch. So yeah, I'm feeling good. Brady, how you doing?
I'm in the same boat. It went by real quick. There weren't any super low points, but I did blink, and there was an hour and a half went by, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," but at the same time, I was like, "Oh no."
I think that's going to be a lot of the discussion when it comes to SGF this year. I definitely feel like right now I'm by far the highest on this panel. I'm so curious to see what we end up scoring it, especially after seeing Resident Evil Requiem, which is badass name, and seeing the 9 pop up and everything.
Yeah.
Like,
they like to put the number in the title, but not in the title. Like Village was 7 or 8 with
the VIII coming from the ILL.
I guess the Q is the 9 in this.
I believe so.
Like flash on the screen. Yeah, interesting.
Super cool. Because I think that is one of those, like, if I'm being real, it's a unicorn type game. It is the next Resident Evil title. It is a major title. Like it doesn't get bigger than that, in my opinion. Like, of course, you can talk about like GTA, Red Dead 2, whatever. Yeah. But like when it comes to what SGF could be and should be, it doesn't get bigger than that. That was
the most bananas announcement or way to do an announcement I've ever seen in my entire life.
It broke my brain.
We're going to get into that. Yeah. I think that we should hop into overall thoughts, and I'm going to kick it off with Connor. What are your overall thoughts of SGF 2025?
I'm going to give that a 5 out of 10. It really did save itself in the end with Resident Evil 9 and Project Century, which is now named, can you scroll up for me, for the new name for Project Century? It should be highlighted, Stranger Than Heaven. Great name. Really cool name. And I love the vibe. And it looked like more detective-esque in this trailer than the first one was all beat-em-up style. So it threw me off on exactly what it was, but I'm into it. I think it looks really cool. And I have not played an RPG game. I have Yakuza 0 downloaded on my Nintendo Switch 2. I'm interested in hopping into that soon. But that might be another game that I'm going to be able to get on the ground floor for an RPG joint. So yeah, I think that because of the pacing of it, because of the lack of a big announcement at the start, I think it's really tough to kind of get through a lot of the smaller stuff that isn't necessarily for me, but I understand that a lot of it is going to be for somebody. So I kind of factor that into my overall ranking. But when I compare it to other showcases that Jeff has put on, when I compare it to Sony State of Plays, with the length of time that this is and what we got out of it, I think it's a relatively weaker showing, but it's not bad. I think it's just... It just happened.
All right.
You know what I mean?
We say meh for 5s, right? Yeah, meh. Brady, what are just overall thoughts? Put a score on it for Summer Game Fest 25.
Yeah, pretty much all the way through. I was kind of agreeing with Connor. We were sitting at like a 4, and then they came in and saved it with RE Requiem. I don't know. There's a couple games that I'm excited for, which we'll get more into. Like you said, I wish they started out with something strong, but they didn't have many strong things to start out with or throw in the middle. So I think that's why they teased us with RE9 and they built up to it. We expected to see it, and so we got that little trailer where they're like, everything's on sale, and we're like, oh no, is that it? And then they teased us a little more, and we're like, okay, they got to give us something. So broke my brain the second time around we saw it, but then they came through and saved at the end, which was pretty nice. So yeah, I'll bring that 4 up to a 5 just because they saved it, and RE9's that whole point right there. So
yeah, it's such an interesting conversation because this entire time, as somebody that has sat through 2022 SGF and obviously 2024 with you guys, I know how bad it can be. Like, and it can be bad. And this was, I genuinely think, at 0 points bad. I think that it was meh for a lot of it, around that 5 area. And then there started to be the big issue, I think, was for this panel at least, there weren't games that were for us. There weren't games that we're excited to play.
But the issue is that it doesn't always need to be games that are for us. It needs to be something that is for a wider breadth of people.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, it's nothing nearly on the level of something that's very much for a group of people, something like the Marvel fighting game that was announced at State of Play.
Yeah.
There's nothing even close to that level. Even if it's a more narrow because it's a fighting game, I can wrap my head around that being a big deal, even though it's not for me. And I don't think there's anything here that I could say fits into that bill. Not for me, but a big deal. You know what I mean?
I would throw out something like Mortal Shell 2 or Atomic Hearts 2, where people like those games, and there are the people that are the truthers behind those games that are outside the critics of like, no, these games are great. A lot of people just say that those are some good titles out there, but like there are people that are super for it. And then you do have titles like The Hollower, which is one of the most anticipated games out there. Like that's I know it's not like a unicorn-esque game, but like the next game from the Shovel Knight developer.
Yeah,
and
but we've already seen that game multiple times. It's just getting a date finally. It's like cool.
Which we haven't had a date for is the issue, you know?
Yeah, but I wouldn't put that on the level of other indie developer games like for their hype currently. Like, it's not the follow-up to Shovel Knight. I think Mina the Hollower, new IP, you're running off of the name of Yacht Club. Yacht Club hasn't put out a new game, like a full-fledged new game since Shovel Knight, which was over a decade ago at this point. That like I think it's cool to get a date. I'm excited for Mina the Hollower. I think the vast majority of people don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, to play devil's advocate, I agree with Connor. It's like you need, as somebody that's not as knowledgeable as you guys are, and like that stuff pops up and you're like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is. You need something to begin, middle, and end where I'm like, oh shit, I know what that is and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
True. And I got to point to literally what's on the screen right now.
Well,
Death Stranding 2, Kojima, it's a small showing, but it's more of a showing. It's more details. And it was honestly, as somebody that's watched the latest trailer before this 12 times, aka I've watched 2 hours of this trailer because it's a 10-minute trailer. I'm really excited to see what these characters' dynamics are.
The game comes out in 20 days. Like I understand that you need to like get the hype train moving, but I think that most Death Stranding fans at this point have seen what they need to see to be excited for it. Is that selling anybody on it? Do you think?
I think that there are more people that are just getting used to the fact that this game is going to be out soon and it's going to be a banger. Because the Decima engine, anytime it shows up on any screen, you're just like, yep, this is going to be impressive as shit.
Yeah.
I also think that at the same time that Brady brings up, and I respect Brady's opinion on this because there is a lot of casual people watching a Summer Game Fest presentation. There is also a ton of hardcore gamers that watch the show. Like,
absolutely.
We're talking about the hardcore audience that is showing up to a presentation like this. This is, we were looking at the numbers beforehand. Last year got 7 million views. So there is the casual audience in this, totally. But
so many people watch SGF. It's just confusing to me that developers are looking at State of Play, which gets viewed way less than SGF, apparently.
I mean, because there is marketing deals with Sony and stuff like that, and Sony is paying people to show up so they can go and promote their system and everything, whereas Jeff is, but RE9 is showing up here because it gets viewed, but you're not getting any partnership and you're not getting paid for that announcement, seemingly is the way that they do it. I haven't given my score yet, but Brady, you're around a 4 or 5.
No, I'm at a 5. I was a solid 4 for a while, and then that whole RE9 was an emotional roller coaster, but it came out on top, and I'll bump it up to a 5. I don't feel comfortable giving it a 4 because, like I said, like there was no super low points. We kind of just coasted most of the time, and I was okay with it.
Yeah,
there's a handful of stuff that's sprinkled in there that was new for me, and I'm excited for. So a 5, I think. Like you said, I think meh is the best way to describe what just happened the past 2 hours.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5. Okay, I can't say good. Because I don't think that I think that it has to lose like a.
You think it's 1 point less than the State of Play that we just saw?
Yes, because we just had 2 hours. It is so hard to put on 2 hours of like that goes by fast.
Yeah, I get that. I do think that Jeff has painted himself into a corner a bit by doing a 2-hour show, but I think that's just the length of the show and how it's what it has to be. He has to fill it out.
And guess what? He filled it out like with a bunch of games that are varying degrees of interesting and for audiences, and there are a lot that aren't for audiences. But I looked at that list that Hope sent over, and I was like, holy smokes. There are, by the end of it, when I look at the list of games, I'm like, I have interest in / want to play 7 or 8 of these titles. And that includes something like Lies of P Overture, where it's like, I don't know if I'm going to get to that. It's out today. We're busy. Switch 2, Death Stranding 2 on the horizon. I would say there's a good chance none of us touch that until Brady potentially streams it later this year. With that being said, that's a fucking hype announcement. I want to play that game. I want to give that another shot because I enjoyed my time with Lies of P. And then we're talking in circles about some of these other titles. Brady's like, yeah, the Scott Pilgrim game. I'm like, dude, I love
about that.
Yeah, I love the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up when I was
Yeah.
a adolescent, and then now here I am, and I'm like, dude, that's gonna fucking rip. And then to close it out, we did get not just a One More Thing. We got one of the best One More Things possible. Resident Evil 9 is as good as it gets. So in my opinion, that One More Thing is a 10 out of 10 One More Thing. Like, that is perfection as a One More Thing. I do think that the showing of it could have been a little bit like, we could have seen gameplay. We could have seen exactly who's going to be the protagonist. I do think it's going to be the person at the desk is going to be the
I think
protagonist.
it's very likely going to be multiple protagonists. I don't think
think
that
so?
the Leon rumor is just out of nowhere that you play as Leon in this game.
I
and
could
the
see
fact
that.
but the only point against that is that you show this game for the first time and the protagonist or one of the protagonists is Leon, and you don't show that in the first trailer.
I don't think it is. I honestly, I'm kind of sold that Leon's not in it because he was very adamant. It's like they're taking a new direction,
I'm
a new gameplay,
cool
new
with that.
style.
I
And
like
me
that.
too. Me too.
You do have the Raccoon Police Department letters in there and everything. It's
I
like,
forgot about
you got to
that,
be thinking Leon when you see something like that. And so, like, for me, we can talk about a 4 or 5 out of 10 showcase. We close out with a 10 out of 10 announcement, an announcement that I'm like eager to talk about. We're going to be going to Play Days here tomorrow, and I assume that the water cooled conversation that are going to be happening in between appointments was how sick nasty was that RE9 trailer? How exciting is RE9 going to be for February next year? Getting a date also on, which is another one of those like, oh, CG trailer, no date, no gameplay. Like, no, we got that. We it's not gameplay, but we got the extra information that we need to close out a trailer, close out a showcase, and have it be awesome. I can't qualify this as good because I think that Jeff has had good to great to amazing SGFs. I think that for SGFs 2023, not 2021 with Elden Ring, it's finally time. 2023 was a 2-hour consistently great showcase with amazing announcements, and I gave that show like a 9 out of 10. We're not there. We're not close to there. We're 2.5 points beneath that. The fact is, for 2 hours, I was legitimately entertained with the games that they were showing. And it wasn't just because I was with you two and we're chopping it up about video games. It was not that. It was very much, we're going to go through the list, and we will go quote unquote game by game of just like, hey, if you got something to say, pop it off. Like, if you got a point on it, that's sort of how I want to take this podcast. But like, I think that we're going to realize really fast that like the commentary on this is going to be, that game's awesome. It's not for me. And or that game looks interesting. It's not for me. Or depending on how well
I don't know
it
how
might
many
be for me.
games are here that are for a lot of people. That's just like the crux of a lot of my arguments.
Let's hop in on what's on the screen right now. Sonic Cross Worlds. Like, is this like announcement
that more
good
characters are in it?
New characters with the date. Like,
I think
it's
very
Minecraft.
cool. It's just an update though from something that we already knew about.
Dude.
So that's the cool part of this game is the random ass characters, and we didn't know any of those beforehand. It feels like.
Are we going to go through some? Of the
Yeah, we
highlights
can
here?
go through this, but I'm at a 6.5. I think this was a very okay showcase. I understand that there's going to be people that are like, this game is a 3 out of 10 because it only had Resident Evil,
that's
and the,
perfectly
and the
fair.
rest
Yeah.
it was not for me.
Whereas for the state of play, it's like, what the 3 out of 10?
Right.
You're there with with how many really interesting games, some massive titles there were in that. I just don't agree with that. Here, I think if you're at a 3 or a 2 and it's like you just saw the one and you've only felt compelled by the one announcement in RE9, I totally get that.
All right, let's hop into the games. Mortal Shell 2 is what opened up the show. Any commentary on this other than that, like, Mortal Shell 1's a cool game and a sequel to it seems like a good decision?
One of those examples of it's for somebody I don't think this is for me.
There were people in our audience that it was very much for, like, that were watching it.
Yeah. So it got Bloodborne vibes, of course.
Yeah.
So
Which I think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be a little bit upset about the Bloodborne vibes not coming through. But Brady, as someone that just recently played Bloodborne, was this one like, oh, I want to hop into it, or did it not convince you by the end of it to?
Curious about like the gameplay and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know anything about the first game, but the gameplay looked really cool. The vibes were there. I don't know. It's one of those where I'm not completely sold once it comes out. If the word on the street is that it's good, then I might hop in. I could be convinced.
Next up was Fortnite Galactic Battle. Not really.
I don't know what I'm doing tonight, dude.
A nothing burger. I'm shocked that I have not downloaded it yet. It's sort of a nothing burger of like what that's going to be. It's for someone, not for us. And I honestly think the people it's for, this isn't convincing anyone anything different.
The Fortnite people are there, and they're already there. That didn't sell anybody. I don't think so.
Death Stranding 2 looking as beautiful as ever. Connor, how much did you enjoy not watching this trailer?
So good,
It was
dude.
so funny.
It looked so good.
Looked at
The visuals, the acting, just really looking forward to this one. I cannot wait.
I'm very excited about this video game, and it's because of moments like that.
I thought about standing up and like going standing somewhere
was
else
so
or whatever,
funny,
but
dude.
I committed to the bit, honestly.
Next up was Chronicles Medieval. This was the game that we thought was going to be a strategy game, but then it came over with the two different factions for Medieval.
Oh yeah.
I want to say this game is for somebody. I don't know who this is for necessarily. I feel like when it comes to those kind of games, there's already
Chivalry.
there already have that space filled by somebody else or whatever, some other game.
Next up was Sonic Racing Crossworlds. One of those that like I assume we're going to stream. I assume that we might pick it up and give it a shot.
Maybe.
Sorry, Brady and I are going to stream. What's up, Brady? Let's go and play as Minecraft Steve and freaking Tails in the same game.
Oh, meow, dude. I'm in.
Next up was Code Vein 2.
This is a bigger announcement, I would say. It's on the screen right now. Perfect timing.
Okay, I was gonna say I need a refresher.
Well, it's the like action RPG that like it looks a little bit more anime. People kind of banged the drum on Code Vein 1 as being better than people initially had thought. Like it didn't review like the best, but it has a fandom for it. I was gonna say roguelikes. Souls-likes are the hotness right now. I feel like you can get away with making a Souls-like and it will get an audience almost universally. So yeah, I think that having a known IP in Code Vein, making a sequel, Souls-like, hopefully they refine it a little bit more, and it's great. But another one of those games that I haven't played the original, so I don't think I'll get around to playing it. Next
up was another scary game, End of Abyss, that's on the screen right now, the top-down shooter. You said that it's been a while since you played one of these, Connor. Any interest in this one?
Probably not, but I do think this looks cool.
I think
like
it looks
the
cool
vibe.
too.
It looks cool. If it's one of those kind of like, insides like or limbo kind of with a little more action-esque and it's like a shorter kind of game, I could see us throwing this on a stream on a weekend or something.
Yeah,
if we need to fill some space. Like it looks like a fun game. If it's like 6 hours or less, I could see my
Brady, this is such it got a 84 on Metacritic. It would be great for you to build out the rest of your top 10 list.
Right.
Let's go and have you play it on a Saturday afternoon.
Kind of reminds me of how people talk about Midnight Walk, where it's like this game is like a piece of art and people like the vibe and the look of it, but it's not going to light the world on fire by any means. I feel like it could fit that void for next year. You know what I mean?
Next up, we got Mouse PI for Hire. Troy Baker is apparently the voice of the mouse. This is where the stream dipped for us at a moment.
I don't know if this game is all style and no substance. That's all I worry about with Mouse PI for Hire.
Yeah.
It looks really cool.
No date still, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Is it going to be fun? I don't know. I think it does look fun, though.
Well, here's the thing.
I hope it's great.
At
There
least
it is. We're pacing really well with what's on screen.
I know, right?
Well, I think that
at some point we're gonna not.
Also, though, like the
looks
trailers
good.
just kept on coming. It felt like it was minute trailer after minute trailer. Next up was the Game of Thrones War for Westeros games. We all were sort of out on it pretty
Fuck no,
immediately.
dude. I
It
can
has-
already tell that that's just like a cash grab type experience. Make a robust action RPG in the Game of Thrones universe or something.
As being such a big Game of Thrones fan, it hurts my soul to keep watching them do this over and over in
Yeah.
Game of Thrones. And it's like, dude, we watched that fight between Jon Snow and
The Night King.
The Night King, and it's like, dude, this would make such a good RPG, just
Yeah.
action game, and it's like
Yeah.
we're throwing away a perfectly good story that's already written.
Or maybe like do it in the universe and
Yeah.
have like a new
Right?
story.
Yeah, you
or
can do
something.
new characters or whatever. The
Yeah.
universe is there for you to just take.
Yeah, there's so much goodness and
I love it.
rich RPG mechanics already in there. So like George R.R. Martin, just kind of knows how to write some pretty good video games too. Shout out to Elden Ring. Atomic Heart 2.
This is a big deal. I'm glad that they're getting another crack at this. I hope that it lives up to the expectations that the first one had, because the first one a lot of people were really looking forward to, and it kind of just came and went. Some people said it was really fun, but the writing was terrible in it, and that kind of held it down for being a great video game. So if they iron that out here, I feel like this could be something really special. But I will hold my breath on that one and see when like reviews come out and stuff.
And then we got the Cube, which was sort of just like all right, we're still getting more Atomic Heart universe, but do we need this right now? I'm not sure about that.
It's kind of a cool idea. Like I kind of dig that, but
I just wish they went more in depth of like the idea, because it's like multiple universes. They kind of made it seem,
Yeah,
and there's a
or like
lot
it's,
going
like,
on at one
twisting.
time, and they didn't really go too into depth with that. So I'm definitely more curious to see what the
they said
gameplay looks like.
an
in that.
MMO.
Yeah.
See, that's where.
So
it
when
threw
I
me
think
off,
MMO,
yeah.
I think of like really kind of basic grindy gameplay,
Yeah.
like World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14. Fun gameplay, but like very distinct. I don't know, based off of what they showed on the screen, how that applies to gameplay for an MMO. So we'll see.
Next up was Marvel Cosmic Invasion getting another look, a couple extra characters getting added to the roster. Here's the issue. I'm excited about that game. I forget which characters are getting added. And so I think that She-Hulk and Rocket.
And
Yes,
Rocket,
thank you so
yeah.
much. I think it's just been a long showcase, but I'm
Right,
very
yeah.
excited about that game. That is a game. And once again, I think that I'm going to, by the end of this, have 9 games. And I'm like, I'm going to play these games eventually.
Right,
And it's cool to go and get an update on. So yeah, all about that. Next up was Onimusha getting a gameplay look from Capcom. And I'm like, guess what? I'm about it.
You think this is going to score better or worse than Pragmata?
I think Pragmata is going to score high because dad games score high.
Really?
Sure.
I think this game is definitely going to be better than Pragmata.
Well,
I
this
think this
game-
looks great, but I think they're both in like the kind of B tier Capcom catalog, whereas I feel like Capcom only puts out bangers lately. So I hope to be pleasantly surprised, and it's better than what I am seeing on screen, because I think it looks good, maybe great, but we're talking about a studio that puts out excellent games constantly. So we'll see where this ends up falling. I hope that they do right by Onimusha fans, because they've been waiting for a new game for a very long time.
Next up was one of the trailers of any showcase ever. It was the Felt That Boxing, the Muppet game.
Oh.
Dude, what a fun trailer. We were all cracking up, having a good time with
Yeah.
it. And I will say, I kind of want to try that game out. Like that, it looks funny.
Yes.
It looks ridiculous. It's fighting games. Come on, I'm in on
It
that.
put it on my radar for sure.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I'm curious about the gameplay and if it's all like boxing or whatever, or like, because we got a little bit of the gameplay where you're that
Plunging?
first person boxing or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's like I'm curious if there's like more to it. Than
Well, there's
that.
the plunging, the toilet plunging.
Oh, yeah.
So
And
I think
I
there's
mean,
like training
just
arc
ridiculous
mini games,
things.
stuff
So
or whatever. Yeah.
That would be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
The-
I want to know
honest-
more.
That's
It's on my
either-
radar now.
That's
Yeah,
either
for sure.
like.
Was there a date?
I don't believe so. But the nice part of that game is it sold me of that's either going to be a game that we play during like a 24-hour stream and fuck around with for a bit, or it's something that is actually going to be played in full. Either way, I'm now excited about that video game. Next up was Killer In. Somebody help me out with this one. I have no idea.
So long ago.
Gotta go off of this one, because none of us know what
Yeah.
you're talking
Killer
about.
In.
And then Arc Raiders was next, getting a date. Very exciting for once again. And this is one that I'm going to say, not for me. I'm not going to play this game probably, but
If it takes over and like becomes a cultural phenomenon, like a Fortnite type experience, which based off of the beta, people are really into it, and I could see this game getting a massive audience, but I don't know.
wait, Killer In was the Clue game, and I was
cool.
like, that looked cool.
There's
I
your
thi-
Square Enix announcement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Unless it's
Among
at
Us.
Xbox, could it be at Xbox? A big Square Enix announcement.
I think that the best chance for a Square Enix announcement at Xbox is
Final Fantasy 16.
You're getting a remake. You're getting 16 finally. That I think that's the level that they have
Please,
when it comes
no.
to that relationship there. Next up was Dune Awakening, getting another trailer. Too long of a trailer. We've seen a lot of that game. We don't need to see more of it. But I
Yeah.
get the marketing beats and everything. Fine by me. Next up was Wuthering Waves. Would anyone have a clue on this one?
No.
See, this is always the interesting part where it's like some of these trailers are like, yeah, that's cool, but like, what really sticks after
It
a
needs
showcase?
to leave an impression, like the Muppet game. That
Yeah.
leaves an impression immediately.
Yeah,
where you're like, I
absolutely.
will never forget that. I will see that in my nightmares or dreams. I do not know which yet.
And then after it is going to be Out of Words. I also have no idea at this point or remember what that
Wait,
game was.
out of words is that the 2-player?
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
the two,
yeah.
that's
Oh,
the-
yes.
that was the one, that was like a top 3 for me. The
Yeah.
2-player It Takes Two kind of style looking game.
Yeah,
that looks like
that
a
was
really fun
cool.
couch co-op that
It's
I
called-
think will actually.
It's called Out of Words because they don't have any
Yeah.
maps.
Exactly. Yeah. Sky, somebody before we started the podcast asked in chat what my top 3 were, and that was
That
that
game
might
looks
be
really cool.
the second one for me below RE9.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, like there can be smaller games and really capture my excitement
Yeah.
and help bolster this, but I just think they need to be flanked by some more robust
I
announcements.
just want to throw out at this point we were about like 17ish games deep.
Yeah.
Death Stranding 2, whether I'm gonna play that game, Sonic Racing Crossroads, I might play that game. I'm not even gonna put a finger up for it. Mouse PI for Hire, I'm going to play that game. I think
Really?
Atomic Hearts, yeah.
You're for sure going to play Mouse PI for hire.
I maybe it
know
depends on
that.
like what the discussion is
Yes,
after the fact.
that's
as of
mine.
right now, I'm down to play that
Yeah.
game. Onimusha, I'm playing. Marvel Cosmic Invasion, 100% playing. Felt That Boxing, the Muppets game, I'm 100% playing. And then sorry, did I say Onimusha? I did. And then Out of Words, I'm playing. There's
Yeah,
6
Out of
games.
Words,
Actually, I'll throw it out there. That might be another one of those that like I want to see a little bit more. But I'm very, very interested. Very much on the radar for Out of
Yeah.
Words at this point.
Yeah, I think the way they showed it was perfect too. I mean, you got like a little bit of gameplay. And
Yeah, that's what a lot of these trailers needed.
More
when
gameplay.
was
Yeah,
more
yeah.
gameplay to really sell and push forward.
The cube.
And then next up was Mafia: The Old Country, getting another look at that one. By the way,
Gameplay.
disappointed in no
Yeah,
gameplay.
come on, man.
I'm just excited for the game just because of the world and the setting, and it's something I think I could get really into. But yeah, I need some more gameplay.
Then we got Lego Voyagers. I think this was the 2-player Lego game.
Yeah, this is cute.
Yeah. I think that's all we need to say
Yeah,
on that.
yeah,
It looks cute.
yeah.
I want to see a little bit more of it, but yeah.
We had just seen a 2-player co-op game like right before it with
Yeah.
the claymation one. So seeing another one like right after it, I was like, okay, like I kind of got the one that I'm looking forward to more so.
Exactly.
Right
That's kind
before
of what
this.
got
So.
me. Yeah.
Next up was Nicktoons and the Dice of Destiny. Did nothing for any of us here.
No, yeah.
And then we got Liza P. Overture, which was a shadow drop for one of the most anticipated DLCs this year.
It's so funny because I feel like it's muted a little bit because I think a lot of people expected this. I heard people talking about this pretty regularly leading up to SGF. That it's summer. We don't have a date yet. They're supposed to be here because they were listed in the partner list or whatever. So people are like, oh, it's happening, and it's like, yep, there it is.
I will
it
say
looks great though. It looks really cool.
It was a little bit muted because of those recent. It's still getting something in the hands of the players right away, especially something that is that high quality, is awesome. Always, you know, like. I really wish we brought the Xbox out, you know, and like we were able to go and hop in on this late night, and me and Brady just go and try to play Liza P at 2 a.m.
Right.
You know, like that sounds like a great time.
Darn, I guess we'll have to play Mario Kart.
Don't tell me it's a good time. Next up was Fractured Blooms. I have no idea on this game. This is sort of, by the way, this is where I think that the show dips. I think this is the definitive dip for the next like 5 games.
Yeah.
It was Fractured Blooms, then Blade and Soul Neo, Blade and Soul Heroes, One Punch Man, 7 Deadly Original Sins, Jurassic World Evolution 3. This was 5 trailers in a row where I was like, yeah. The nice part was it was only like 6 minutes of time.
Yeah.
This and like when we've had dips in Jeff shows, y'all, that are 20 to 30 minute dips where it hits the hour mark and then you don't get another like just something interesting for 40 minutes.
Was this better than last year?
100%.
Yeah, it
I
definitely
think
is.
so.
It
Connor,
definitely was.
Connor, we had already 9.
Last
Yeah.
year had lows.
and
Connor,
had no high.
Connor,
No high,
Connor,
real
I
low
could have seen
lows.
Jeff's dance for an hour and 55 minutes, and then the RE9 trailer plays, and it would have been better than last year's SGF, in my opinion. And then we got Tamina the Hollower, and this is where that's when I got reeled back in. And I was like, yep.
Did we get to the Deadpool part yet?
It's right after this.
Okay, I was about to say. It has to be
But
coming
by
up.
the way, this is, in my opinion, this is where we started the incline back up. Me, the Hall, we're getting a date, Connor. Finally, are you going to hop in on this one day one?
I don't know if I am. I'm excited that this is finally getting a release date, and I like Yacht Club, and I like the kind of games that they're trying to make and fill this niche of really like retro style indie games. I think it's potentially too little too late. It's going to depend on the schedule, and if this game has a lot of buzz around it once it does come out and people are really enjoying it, then maybe I'll hop in. But I wonder how long it is. If it's like 10 hours, then yes.
Next up, we had Deadpool VR, which is being voiced by Neil Patrick Harris. I think that this trailer got teased in a not great way because the Persona 4 yellow came up.
Yeah. That's a bad situation for them for sure.
Well, the yellow came up and I was like, does this have something to do with Cyberpunk? And then the way you sneak out and you hand them a card, you're like, this has got to be something big. And then I guess it's big for somebody.
Yes.
And it's just the name, like the whole Deadpool franchise is huge, but then it's the whole VR aspect and none of us are super big on that. And so it was a tough kick in the gut after that hit.
Right now, the trailer is playing in the background for the Muppets game, and the unadoptable orphan line is just so wild.
So stupid.
And this whole trailer was so good. Like, this is such a good fucking trailer. Anyways, next up after Deadpool VR was Dying Light the Beast. We got a date. Looks good.
Yes.
Didn't take up too much time. I'm fine with the quick hit announcement, giving us that information that we want from these types of showcases. Next up was Mixtape. Really, really disappointing that we did not get a date on this one. Where it's like, I feel like I knew exactly the same amount of information I knew before that trailer. But I also am very excited about that video game. So
I can't get over the Muppet.
The Muppet
game.
trailer.
I know. Try not to. It's going to suck me out of this conversation if I just say that right now. I can't.
Next up, we
Toast
had
dodge meets beat
and then plunged.
It's so good.
Oh goodness!
Yeah, this is how you leave an impression for sure.
You know, Jeff was all about it with the Muppet style. Next up was the game that apparently was too long for Brady to read. Tawa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree. One of the longer trailers of the show, it felt like.
Cool art style.
Cool art style, and the backgrounds of the game were very interesting. I remember being like, oh, that has like decent background art for environments and everything.
Forgot about Flying Lotus doing the Muppet game. This is
the
a Muppet
music
game.
in that
This
was,
is just a
great.
Muppet game podcast now.
Yeah. When I saw Flying Lotus, I was like,
All right, welcome to the Casual Muppet Game Podcast. I'm your host, Nick. That's Connor. That's Brady. Next up was Acts of Blood. Any idea on this one?
No.
Yeah, that's one. Somebody let us know what Acts of Blood was in the chat and highlight it for us. Next up was Scott Pilgrim EX. Brady,
Anamanaguchi is back, baby.
Brady, take it away.
I mean, I'm excited. It's just a little run and beat 'em up. You get to hit people with guitars. You get to shred. You get to listen to fucking Anamanaguchi, baby.
Yeah.
Sign me
It's a
up.
vibe.
I'm
It's a
in.
vibe.
Yeah, I could turn my brain off and play that game for hours. I'm excited. I
Yeah.
love Anamanaguchi, so I love how they stay in this universe.
Next up was the Hitman announcement for World of Assassination. We're getting Mads in the game. Cool. Mads is rad.
Yeah.
Great. All right.
I zoned out for whatever you just said. I was thinking about Anamanaguchi. Go ahead.
Real quick. Let me hop it back in on Scott Pilgrim. I love that beat 'em up game, and I played it with Sam, and I played it with our good buddy Cole growing up, and I was like, I wanted to do a stream of us playing the Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up just to like relive some of those memories. The fact that we're getting a new one after all this time. 4-player co-op.
4 players. It looked like 2 players during that entire
And then
trailer, but then they threw that 4-player in there just so you knew, and that's sold us. I'm excited.
Dude, I'm so in.
Yeah.
Like that is going to. There's such a large difference between a game like even Mouse PI for Hire, where I'm like, I'm interested in that game, but I want to see a little bit more. That Scott Pilgrim beat 'em up game, I saw enough. I'm going to play that game at least for a stream. If not, I'm going to beat the thing. Next up was Wild Gate.
That was the Splitgate 3.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Don't.
By the way, Axe of Blood was the solo dev game that looked like Sifu.
Yeah, the beat 'em up.
Yeah.
That looked pretty cool.
It did look cool.
Yeah,
I-
I
that's
probably
one-
won't play it, but it does look cool.
That's one that I need somebody to get hands on with.
And tell me that it's going to be.
I'm waiting for something that stands out with it. Like you said, there were like little things here and there, just with the art style and like the fights with you could see the bones crushing and stuff, which looked cool, but that's not enough to really sell me on it.
It was so close to being like, yep, I'm in, but I'm not fully there yet. Then we got Blighted. This was one of the horror games. I feel like we got a horror game rock block.
Is
at the
Ill
end here.
right after this?
It was right after
Oh my
this.
goodness, yeah. I'm just scared the whole time. These games look nasty in a good way.
Blighted was interesting. It had
Yeah.
a lot of interesting enemy designs.
And then we had Mecha Break, which was
This game's gonna be big,
yeah, it's gonna
yeah.
rip.
but I don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I don't. This is not my kind of
No,
game
same.
at all. But like I've heard people say that they're excited for it.
The
so.
mech games don't do it for me. Here's what I'm
Yeah, but it does for a lot of people. Next up was Infinite Seminoles. Infinite Seminoles. I think Connor was using the restroom during this trailer, so I don't even think that he
Oh
was.
no, I remember. I remember this. It was the ant game. It was the ant game.
Oh, shoot! Bugs
yeah.
Life 3.
I don't like the look of that game one bit.
Next up, we
I don't even know what
get
you do.
just a hell of a rock block. Wu-Tang Fallen Feathers getting another look, marketing, whatever.
July.
Very excited for that
Game
one.
was great.
That's going to be such a good question mark game of can they deliver the goods? Because
Yes.
it looks amazing.
I think it could teeter either way.
Yeah. I'm not going to bet that it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
But it definitely has the potential to be awesome.
Yes. Yeah.
Then we had Wu-Tang Rise of the Deceiver. This freaking game has been rumored for so gosh darn long. And the fact that we got just a snippet of it and it looked pretty dope, come on. Like this is one of those things that got like tossed out and has been in the ether for so long. Getting it here, I know that it's a little bit wild. This should have opened the show, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Because no matter what, even if you don't know about it being like this, like just out there video game, it's like, oh, it's Wu-Tang Clan. Let's go.
Yeah.
And cool art style. And it's celebrity. And like that's so SGF. But I think that Jeff maybe potentially was like, we got to make sure that we have like some good pace to all this.
Yeah.
I feel like they needed momentum going into the finale.
The finale, for sure. Then we got Into the Unwell. Was this another horror game? I
Yes.
feel like we just had so many horror games. Was this the one with the shotgun? I think this was the one where I
Yes,
asked.
the one that it didn't look real almost.
Yeah.
But the better shotgun
I think so.
than prior.
Or was that
It was a 7 or 8.
Oh goodness, there's so
7 or
many
8
of them.
shotgun.
And then final 3 games, Splitgate 2. We all discussed where we're at with Splitgate 2 at this point.
Yeah.
Apparently, he tossed out a shot at Titanfall 3, which cool. If
these guys-
you're not going to do it, do it yourself sort of deal.
Yeah, they clearly have a lot of passion for this, but I don't know if I'm gonna hop in at this point.
Yeah.
We saw some gameplay and they're doing stuff with the portals and everything and just making it look a little more fast paced and stuff, but I don't know if it's enough to sell me to come back to Splitgate. you
Yeah,
know?
there's too many other shooters to play right now.
Yeah, we got our fill of it. It was a fun time, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's too much. There's the Splitgate people, and I'm too scared to get back into it.
Yeah.
And then we closed out with Project Sentry, which is named,
Stranger Than Heaven?
dude.
I think
thank
that's
you.
what it
I think
is.
that's what it's called. And thank you so
Yeah.
much for getting it because I was like, we tried to remember this name like 7 times
Yeah.
over.
He looked at me like, is that right? And I'm like, I don't know, bud.
This game is, as of right now for me, 8 out of 10 hype meter of like, I cannot wait to see whatever the fuck this game
I
is.
think they should have opened with this personally.
It would've been
I
insane.
think you're right.
And that is where the crux of my like 6.5 comes from. Where I'm like, there was a lot of really great shit towards the end of this where I'm like, the Wu-Tang game and this and closing out with already not like there's a lot here. And then lastly, let's dial it back because Hope just sent the games over. We need to talk about just everything RE9 at this point because
They goofed us.
They goofed us time and time again. I want you to clip where it's like we saw the little bit at the beginning and it's like whatever. They're telling us like, hey, you can go play all these old Resident Evils. It's going to be a great time. And then they come back around and we all got so excited. And then he started talking more and more. And I was like, oh no.
I thought he was gonna lead into a trailer. Like, take a
me
look
too.
at this, and then he was
pulls
like,
the glass out, and it's just him, and you're like, okay, he's gonna hype us up. He's gonna tell us it's coming, and then he was like, it's coming soon. And then I just want the clip of all of us. You guys are like just speechless, and I'm just crying laughing. There's no way they just goofed us this hard, dude.
It takes so much for me to shut the fuck up.
It really does.
We all
It's
know
so
that.
funny, dude.
And they literally left me flabbergasted.
Yeah.
It was awesome. By awesome, I mean
So funny.
immensely frustrating. But I said it right after that. I was like, they have to close with this because they won't. They couldn't get away with it basically.
It was all that. It was. This
Yeah.
is the one big thing
Like
they had. And
like
they
if
drew
Jeff
it out.
if Capcom was like, hey Jeff, we want to go and talk about this collection we have, and we want to talk about the 30th anniversary, and then we're not going to give you the trailer, I think he would have said no.
yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
So the fact that they wanted to basically give us basically the entire back half of the show, every single person and their grandma was thinking about RE9.
Yeah.
And then they delivered RE9. Connor, the trailer was interesting. Where are you at with RE9 or RE Requiem?
I think it was a good vibes trailer of like telling me what this game is going for when it comes to like the direction of how it's gonna feel, and like the emotions that it's gonna try to elicit. I don't know what the game is yet, if that makes sense, and that's okay. This just needs to get me in, and it did enough to do that. And it's Resident Evil 9. New characters. I think it looks fantastic when it comes to like a visual presentation aspect of it. I'm curious about the lack of Leon and where those rumors came from, or if there's any validity to those at all. So we'll see. But even without Leon, I don't care. I'm down to play a Resident Evil game no matter what. This kind of almost gave me more Silent Hill vibes.
That's what I was going to say. The only concern I have is like I hope it's still more action packed than like Silent Hill and less puzzly. Like I still want that action packed of like RE4 and like
They did say that at the end after the trailer
Yeah.
that it still has action gameplay.
Yeah, see, they say that, but I mean,
You wanna see it.
the Silent Hill 2 remake has you can argue has action gameplay, but then
Yes.
it also has a lot of snooze fest. Don't get me wrong. We all love that game. I love Silent Hill, but it's a lot of puzzles, a lot of stuff, and I love RE4 just because it's a lot of fucking
Action.
ass kicking, dude. Like,
we talked about the shotgun, and we were joking around with the scoring shotguns throughout the showcase, but like the shotgun in Resident Evil 4 is the best shotgun in video games.
Right.
You know, like it's the best feeling shotgun out there. And so I get where you're coming from, where it's like I want that action. And also, we just had RE7. First person, a little bit of a slower burn, not as much action. We had RE8, first person, a little bit of a slower burn. I would say that our RE8, from what I've played, there is a little bit more focused on action. Early on, I only played the first 2 hours of RE8. But like, I'm very excited to see where we go with RE9. And I do think that, once again, to close out the discussion of this showcase, this is as big as it gets for a trailer here. It is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It is Elden Ring at the time. I would say Elden Ring. Like before Elden Ring was Elden Ring, and we're coming off a Sekiro Game of the Year dub. It's like, yeah, like this is gonna be awesome. So I'm at a 6.5 still. Going through the showcase, has your guys' opinion changed at all?
Nope.
5 out of 10.
Five is good. It could have been paced better. There's some highs. There's like 4 or 5 games I'm excited for, but
Did we get the drink box game?
Oh, maybe not. Or maybe that was one of the games that we didn't know the
forgot
name
about.
of.
Yeah, that we rushed through. It begins with a B.
or is that Blat? Or is that a no? That wasn't.
It's Blighted is the name of the game.
Blighted.
Okay, we talked about Blighted. It was just one of those.
Yeah, it was right before L.
Yeah.
So,
okay,
yeah.
that's why. All right. Ill and Blighted, we thought they were both horror games. I think Blighted looks awesome.
Yeah,
I think I got
Drinkbox.
Ill and Blighted mixed up.
So that's another one where I'm like, I also do think about what we do here at Co-op 64 as a team and being like, this game might not be for me. That's why I mentioned me in the Hollow with you of like, are you going to play it? Because I probably am not going to play a Game Boy feeling video game that is trying to capture an emotion that I'm not actively seeking out all the time. But you, as more of a retro gamer and what you like about retro games, going after that feeling is more up your alley.
It looks like they're trying to capture the Hades kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So I dig that.
I will say the 2-player aspect of it, I'm not a huge fan of, just because I'm like, I don't know if I want that.
I don't think you have to play with 2 people.
I know it could be one
Can you
player
play
for
Hades
sure.
with 2 people?
I have no idea. I don't think so. But I'm very, very interested in where you go and come down with this game overall, because Drinkbox, one of your favorite devs out there, the fact that there was just so many good dev teams, and good dev teams make great games and stuff like that, I feel very, very good with this being a very okay showcase.
6.5 okay?
6.5 okay. So 6 on our scale is okay, and then 7 is good. So yeah, I think that 6.5 is right where I am, and
fair.
Yeah, I think that it. Also, I cannot wait to talk about this RE9 trailer for the rest of the year at this point, and any showcase that it shows up at.
They said they're gonna show more. Soon.
I bet that we get State of Play September, we see it, and then I can see Game Awards, we get more, and then it's out in February. If you like that, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much, for listening to another episode of the Casual Gaming News Conversation. Obviously, this is a very different type of episode, but a very fun episode at that. Brady, thank you so much for joining. Something we said probably will never happen. Thank you so much for joining the Casual Gaming News Conversation for this episode.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize what I was doing. I forgot. For some reason, you did say that at the beginning. I thought it was casual gaming conversation,
Yeah.
but hey, look at me. News.
Hey.
I know stuff.
Thank you so much, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.
Guys, stop asking me to eat a block of cheese. Jordan, Sarah,
Mac. I saw
Andy,
that
and
kept getting
Max,
banned.
and then Jason showed up as well because they texted him to say it.
Yeah, I saw Big Mac kept banning people, and I could see that it was Andy and Max, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, and all I said was, and then I saw Jordan come in and say cheese, please, or something like that.
I didn't see who was getting timed out or banned. I just saw a lot of it, and it definitely threw me off. So fuck y'all.
that was hilarious.
Oh my
That was very
gosh.
funny. And somebody popped in saying that hi, who saw us at the airport. Thanks for popping in, dude.
Hey, what's
thank
up,
you,
man?
buddy.
Hey, saying what's up at.
It was so early in the morning.
Yeah,
I wish we
I
got
was
the yap more.
delirious.
Dude's a
Yeah.
fan of Zetsubo out of all BO3 maps. Come on, man.
And
Grog, Krovi, DE, and Shadows are right there.
You
But it's
did
still a great app.
create a conversation between us for a little bit,
Yeah.
so it was a good interaction. I hope you
That was
having a good time.
that was one of the few conversations that Connor and Brady and I enjoyed having at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We have a busy night ahead of us, so we're going to go and get ready for that. The next time you will see us for sure is Sunday for Xbox. Thank you so much for hanging out for this podcast, and we need to post our reaction right now to Resident Evil 9, so we're going to go and do that. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.
Bye.